So today, what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about solving problems involving parallel line angle pairs. We had this last week on Thursday. We talked about alternate interior, same side interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, and we talked about how to identify when that's what you have. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to have parallel lines, and when the lines are parallel, we actually have things that are true about these angle pairs, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So the idea today, I'm going to talk about how they work, what the situation is with the different parallel line angle pairs, and then we're going to do a couple practice problems. The really great thing about this particular unit is that it's all stuff that we've done before with the algebra. It's like how to take something plus something equals 180. You know how to take something equals something and solve. That's not a problem. So you're going to be able to just bounce right through that stuff. And the proofs, they don't take any time at all because it's like a little drop down menu and you just sort of pick the right answer. And then if worst comes to worst, you get something wrong, you can always just refresh it and try again. So let's go ahead and get started talking about these. So the way that this works is these are actually biconditional statements. So if then and then the other way as well. So these are if and only if statements. These are biconditional statements. So line L is parallel to line M if and only if the same side interior angles add up to 180. So like angle 4 and angle 5 here, angle 3 and angle 6 here, each of them separately add up to 180. And vice versa. If you see that angle 4 and angle 5 add up to 180, then you know that the lines are parallel. Alternate interior angles, we're talking about right here. If you know that the lines are parallel, then the alternate interior angles are the same. Vice versa. If you know that the alternate interior angles are the same, then you know that the lines are parallel. Easy. Same thing with the corresponding angles. Line L is parallel to line M if and only if the corresponding angle pairs are congruent. Line L is parallel to line M if and only if the alternate exterior angles are congruent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over one example of where they add up to 180 and one example where they're the same so that we can get sort of a feel for what we're talking about. And then that's it. I'm going to let you guys go in and get as much practice time as possible. So when you look at this one, look at what we're talking about. We're talking about the angles that are between A and B on the left. That makes these same side, because they're both on the left, and interior, since they're both in the middle of the sandwich, same side interior angles. And same side interior angles add up to 180 degrees, right? So all we have to do is we have to say, all right, well, we take this angle, we add this angle, and we set that equal to 90. Part plus part equals whole, just like we've been doing all year long. Part plus part equals whole, right? Can I repeat the process? Yeah, so for this, all we're talking about is we have identified that these are same side interior to each other, right? They're both on the inside of the two lines, and they're both on the left, right? See the shape that they make together? So they're same side interior, which means that they're going to add up to 180. So we just say this one plus this one equals 180. Part plus part equals whole. So like, okay, the whole thing is that, you've got the two pieces, right? And then the whole thing is 180. So the one part plus the other part equals the whole thing. Part plus part equals whole, right? From before, this part, right? We know that the two add up to 180. So we're basically just saying, hey, part plus part equals whole. All right, does that make sense? So who can tell me what's the value of x? What does x equal?
Wouldn't you have to subtract the 111 to the 180?
That's part of what you would do, yeah. So if it were me, I would first combine like terms, though. I don't like to try and do a bunch of extra stuff.
Yeah.
Combine like terms first. That way the problem becomes much easier.
Well,
Turn it,
therefore, then 120.
yeah. Turn it into an easy two-step equation. That way you're not going around the block to cross the street. You know what I mean? What is x? What does x equal when all is said and done?
X would equal 30.
Right. Then we divide by 2. Right. So if you look and see what we did, part plus part equals whole. So this piece plus this piece equals the whole thing. Then you're just going to combine your like terms. And then you're going to solve for x, right? And they might ask you this in a number of different ways. It still means the same thing. They could say, if the lines are parallel, what does x have to be? But they could also say, on the other hand, because they can go the other way. Remember, these are biconditional statements, so they can talk about the converse, right? What does x have to be in order to make the lines parallel? Doesn't mean that I do anything different. It's the exact same problem. It's just asking it from one direction versus the other. Okay? Let's do this one now. All right? First things first. What type of angle pair do we have here? Can anybody tell me what type of angle pair you see? What are we talking about? Are we talking about same side interior, alternate interior, corresponding, or alternate exterior? Those are the 4 options. Corresponding, very good. So corresponding angles are congruent. Remember, the only one that's not congruent is the same side interior. Same side interior, they add up to 180. Corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, those are the same. So these two had better be the same as each other. And when things are the same as each other, we set them equal. Right? Hey, very good. Well done. All right, so let's talk about this. How do we know what the answer is? Let's solve for W. First thing we do, we see, okay, I've got a two-step equation. So I got to get rid of the plus or minus thing first. -2, so I add 2 to both sides. Because I have to cancel out the -2, right? 55 plus 2 is 57. And then I have to get W by itself, so now I take care of the multiplication or division. It's 3 times W, so I know I do the opposite and I divide. And I'm left with, just like you said, W is 19. Now, what happens if you're not sure? Like, you put a question mark at the end of your answer. How can you be sure that what you did is right? Well, you can plug it back in. Remember, if this is 55, this had also better be 55, right? 3W minus 2 had better be the same as 55. So if I plug in W is 19, this had better come out to 55. So let's double check. Let's make sure. 3 times 19 minus 2. Well, let's do that. 3 times 19 is 57. Minus 2 more is 55. This is the same as this. So I know I was right.